Hi, everybody. You caught me by surprise. Hi, Mohammed. How you doing? Hi, Brian. Watches Brian. Hey, how are things in Central Florida? We're finally getting some Central Florida weather up here. The reason I've got my curtain is open for light, but we got hit by that heat dome that's been doing in. Let me just check. Even though I sort of in the dark a little, I'm afraid to open the window here, otherwise I'll boil. So, oh, geez. So good to see you. Jonathan, hi. How are you? Tony, hey. Brian, Ilko, how are you? Okay, sound is good. Everything's working all right. Great, great, great. Okay, doke. Hey. Oh, I lived in Gainesville for a number of years when I was teaching at the University of Florida. So have a uh, I don't know. That's sort of in Central and North Florida, I guess. Sort of hard to say. I guess Orlando and Tampa are more central. Okay, guys, what's up with watches? Um, what's new? What do you want to talk about? I I saw this guy running around, this cartoon of somebody running around trying to make up their mind what to what to do. And anyway, I thought, oh, that sounds like me on some days. What watches should I look at? Hey, I'll tell you what's going on right now. I'm reading a book. I keep forgetting the name of it. But anyway, I'll tell you what it's about. Dominic sent it to me, and I thought, I thought it was going to be like this really sort of tediously boring book. Turns out to be the opposite. It's really a neat book about watches and watchmaking here in the United States, and more particularly Waltham watches up in Waltham, Massachusetts. And this is whenever we go up to Massachusetts, visit the grandkids, we always stay in Waltham. They're right next door in Weston. And so it's, and there's a thing on the, what's the name of the hotel? The Weston. We stay at the Weston there, and they have a thing, and it's called Watt City. And where the Waltham factory used to be is now a big apartment house. How you doing, Ali? So that's what I've been doing, and it turns out to be a really, really excellent book. And it's about the different types of watches and how they were adopted by a lot of soldiers. Bought them during the Civil War. I think they started. There was one guy who started Waltham, I guess, and he went bankrupt pretty quickly. And so another guy his name was Royal Robbins came in, and he didn't know anything about watches, but he did know something about business and did a pretty good job. Hey, there he is, Dominic. Now, I was telling everybody about that book that you sent me. It is such a really interesting book. I'm really enjoying it. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Suggestions for GMT between 1 to 2,000 pesos. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Let's take a look. Hi, HRM. Been trying to make my own watch dial so far. Attempt. That's a challenge. Okay, let's talk about. Let's see if we can answer Tony's question. What would you recommend as a GMT between 1,000 and 2,000 bucks? Boy, my very first GMT was a Zenith Elite GMT. And I still have it, and it's still running, but the hands don't work. Something happened, and the hands became loose. And so everything in the watch is going on, and it's working well. So on the one hand, I got a pretty good buy on it. and it worked fine for a number of years, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. Zenith is generally a pretty good brand, though, and you can usually pick one up in that price range. What are some other GMTs that you could recommend between 1 and 2,000? Was there a museum for Waltham watches? I believe there's a museum for Hamilton and Lancaster. I don't know. I'll take a look. That's a good question, Brian. I don't know. There's been a lot of stuff during the space, during the early space race, I guess. A lot of the MIT engineers who were working for NASA went to Waltham and talked to some of their watchmakers about precision timing. But I don't know about a museum there. Hi, Clyde. How you doing? I have a nice Hamilton GMT. Hamilton GMT, that would be another good recommendation, I think. Hey, Allie, a Farrer GMT. Farrer. I just learned about Farrer recently, but they look like a good brand. Yeah, Hamilton GMT, that was sub 4,200. We're talking about between 1 and 2,000. I'll tell you one, I don't know if I had it, but it was a Jaeger-LeCoultre with a Jaquet 736 movement that I had. I gave it to a friend, and it had a GMT. It had a 24-hour GMT. So that'd be another one. Hi, HP. Good morning. Morning. Wait a minute. 11 o'clock. It's morning here. I know in Europe it's like afternoon in different places. HRM bought a Review Thorman watch with a Peugeot 7001 barometer model on top. Wow. Now I just hope to find a Bell TMT with thermometer module someday. What about an altimeter? There's an altimeter watch, a mechanical altimeter watch, that I think would be another neat thing. Hey, Rancher, good to see you. Hamilton's facility in Lancaster, Pennsylvania was also turned into an apartment into condos. That's interesting. Because I think it would be so cool to have an apartment in someplace in the Hamilton factory or in the Waltham watch factory. In fact, I think there were a lot of different names that were given. As the American Watch Company, I think at one time is the name of the Waltham watches. Anyway, I've been trying to learn more about them and thinking of getting one. And I was I like the key wound ones. That's be my choice. Hey, Dan. Looking for pre-owned dress watches between Vacheron Constantin Traditionnel and a Chopard LUC with a micro rotor movement. Any thoughts on which way to go? Asking me, I would go with the Traditionnel. I think that's super cool watch. And if it's the one I think it is, and I may be wrong, it's got a 4100 movement, but I could be wrong about that. Why do I like it? I like Chopard LUCs. I just would rather have a Vacheron Constantin. I really like the Traditionnel, and so that would be my choice. Of course, the LU, there's nothing wrong with the other one. Yeah, with my luck. Yeah, I'd, I'd be in the suite where they invented, they did the silicon research. Hey, you know the guy who's the CEO of the what do they call it? The Horology Society of New York. Um, Nick Masuso. I probably said the name wrong. Um, and I think he came from Silicon Valley. He was a Silicon Valley guy, a computer guy, and he was one of the people who work in. I think they work with a place called Firehouse in San Francisco in developing a silicon hairspring. I haven't heard him taking credit for it though. like, like he's a great guy. He's one of the guys that I worked with. He was been very good to us. To Larique, he was to getting. He was able to get tickets for me and some other people where for the gala when they had been long gone. That was sort of a cool thing. Steve and I went to it. It was fun. Okay, the review Thomann is an altimeter barometer comma, only 550 euro. That isn't bad at all. Fabre Luba, yeah, made an altimeter watch as well, but that sells for around 5,000 euro. I'm surprised that Fabre Luba is charging anywhere near that. I had bought one. Here's my latest. I got two Fabre Lubas, one to break, which I've already broken, and the other one to sort of to look. So when I'm putting the other one, when I'm fixing the other one, I have one to see what the way they're supposed to look. Here we got that funny focus now. This is my Fabre Luba. Right now, today this is my heat wave watch. Parmigiani Fleurier Culpa. Oh, this is the name for it. It's called Culpa Grandi Extra Large. You talk about redundant. It's big. It's really big. One of the things I like the best about it, when I had my overseas, I had what was called OS one, the first one that they had. I love that watch. Wore it all the time. And the bracelet kept popping open, and I just got used to it. Would pop it back and go on my way. And this was when I was working, and like I said, I was so used to it, I didn't even notice it. But boy, I tell you, in terms of the quality of bracelet, this one it's just been fantastic. Another one was that Ming bracelet that I got that separate and put on my Moritz Grossmann. That's another great bracelet. So those are after having my overseas bracelet. Okay, let's see what you got. Okay, HP, what is the topic? Whatever you guys want to talk about. This is why it's called Unplanned and Irresponsible. We're having today. I got on my summer. This is one of my summer shirts. It's got a picture of a wolf on it. This is from oops, I got it. Here's my wolf from Scandinavian mythology. I have one great grandfather from Sweden, and actually, looking. It's really funny if you have any relatives from any one of the Scandinavian states, you probably have others. I found out that I got them from Norway, Sweden, and Finland. I don't know about Denmark. Maybe Denmark too. So that's just one side. PF has the most comfortable bracelet. Yeah, you have. Yeah, news. Yeah, the Hebdomadar. That my new watch. I have to force myself not to wear it all the time. That's always. I guess that's always true with new watches, though. How you doing, Goldfinger? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. See what else? I found, or actually, Eric Van Eric Van Wokens, I think. He had this watch, he picture of it, and it's by a guy named, his name is Sylvan Brimman, something like that. And it had the dial on it was sort of looked like something that Salvador Dali would do. And I was looking at the thing. I said, "Oh, that's sort of interesting." So I went to look about it, and boy, the movement in this watch is just spectacular. Just an amazing movement, hand wound, 3 hertz. 2.5 would be better, but 3 is pretty good. Beautiful watch. I mean, and the thing is all gold, and of course it costs 55,000 Swiss francs. So that's sort of way out of my range. I hear Monta makes amazing bracelets. Okay. Yeah, uh, I I'm really not a bracelet guy. I in this heat wave I'm wearing them because I don't want to get my other ones messed up. But I'd heard something of Monta as well. Okay, watches, Brian. Let's see. Question: when winding a watch from the crown, automatic or manual, do you rotate the crown in the winding direction only, or do you hold the crown and rotate it in both directions? No, I only rotate it in the direction you're supposed to. That brings up a strange point. On my God, what's the name of it? The Van Cleef and Arpels Air DC at Air d'Air. Okay, that means the time here and time elsewhere. That one you wind backwards. I mean, in other words, most of the time I just wind it. I guess that would be clockwise. Yeah. But this one, to wind up, you wind it counterclockwise. But all of my other watches, I only wind the way that is for the winder. Now, I know that there's sort of a trick, if you will, for if your watch doesn't have a stop second. A lot of people like to sort of put a counter thing on it to hold the second hand. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to. I don't know how you'd hold the second hand and then set the time, but apparently they have something like that. Hi, Michael. Um, so you got there's there's a but I don't know. I I think you ought to be careful with stuff like that because I tell you, if there is a gremlin, it lives in the key works. The key works just drive me crazy. That's why I'm going to get a key wound. If you look at the movement in a key wound watch, and by the way, this is one that George Daniels was ranting and raving about. You lazy bums, you need a crown wound watch. Everyone should have a key wound one because then you can see more of the movement. And I thought, wow. So I got a key wound watch and immediately broke it. So I'll have to get another one. Okay, so what else is happening? Let me see. Yeah, no, anyway, got that one. Hey, Brian. Eric von Wilkins, Sylvan Berman, yeah, and his wife Marie Alex she's sort of the business side of it, but Sylvan is the watchmaker. He is currently, I think, working as some guy in charge of I think it's like in charge of horology almost for I can't think of the watch company. It's one I always like to forget. uh, I know it's recommended to wind when the watch is off the wrist. Yes, it lessens the wear and tear. Yeah, you do not want to wind your watch on your wrist at all. You don't want to do that ever. The reason is you can bend the stem, and if you bend the stem, you can, you know, suddenly you're going to end up with a big bucks. You're right, Dominic. You don't want to do that. Hi, Idle Time. Good morning. Got your cowboy hat on, 2 cups of coffee. You're ready to go. Yeah, I'm all summered up for today. My my wife has about 1 degree of comfort, and it's either too hot or too cold. If it's too hot, we live in a cold house. With the air conditioning, fans are going all day and all night. The interesting thing is though is that ever since we got solar, we don't have an electric bill. We haven't had an electric bill in years. In fact, I think we get a kickback. We generate so much electricity. We get a kickback from the electric company. So I love that. Um, Big fan of solar, among other reasons, or the main reason for me is that, hey, I save some bucks on that. The way I look at it, that's watch money. The sun is making watch money. Thank you, sun. Oh, okay. Going a little nuts there. What you got? Hey, Masson, what's it? Also, probably don't want to wind it with a single finger either. Yes, Mason, good point. You know, geez. I've got some watches that I probably do. My Dandy Artie is it's got what's it called? A Dandy Artie open face. Chaumet Dandy Artie open face. Boy, it's a long name. It has the crown right underneath the right on top of the watch, and so it's sort of stuck between the dial and the band. It's got a patent leather band. I mean, who's got a patent leather band? Maybe it should be a Prada band or something. But anyway, so it's really hard to get to. The same thing is true on my FP Journe Resonance Chronomet Resonance. And so what I do on that, I just take the top off, and it's got one of those quick release. I just pop it off and then wind it up and set it with the band on the top off, and then I put it back on again and wear it. But yeah, it's awfully tempting, Mason. But you're right. You can put it out of whack. Hey, Dominic, a solar guy. you know, After I got solar, I always start thinking, look at all of this energy I've wasted all these years. It's been sitting there for me. Ah. Hey, Clyde, how you doing? Last year in Vegas, I came across a Seiko spring drive at an incredible price. I'm too embarrassed to say the price. I passed on. Do you have similar stories? Well, first of all, I'm not a quartz fan, so I'm not a spring drive fan. Okay, nothing against it. It's beautiful engineering. In fact, incredible engineering. Where they basically what Seiko did was to get your movement like you have with an automatic, and they had it generate enough electrical juice for a quartz watch. And so you end up with a very, very accurate watch. So, Clyde, my story is you duck the bullet. I don't know if you want to hear that or not. A friend of mine just got he just got a Seiko Presage, a Presage. What a beautiful watch. Those things are, and he got it for a steal. He really got a gorgeous watch. I was taking a look at it. So I've got a lot of respect for Seiko. Um, I, even though I blow my money elsewhere. Um, I found out I have a rule, okay, like all watch collector rules that's probably broken more than once, and that is no more than two of the same brand. And so I got two H Mosers, I've got two FP Jorns, and I had two Parmesan Fleuriers, but then I had to go and get another one. So other than that, hi Raymond, how you doing? Hey, Mask, nice shirt. You like my shirt? Me too. This is my favorite summer shirt with my wolf on it. I forgot the name of the wolf. Any of you Scandinavians, there's a mythical wolf, and I forgot the name of it. Okay, what else is going on in Watchdom that you guys can? Mason, here you go. I've been wearing the Pioneer Mad Swiss Red. Oh, a lot. God, I love that watch. I just love it. The Mad Red. Oh, what a neat watch, Mason. A gorgeous summer watch, especially on a bracelet. Yeah, that's a cool watch. Hey, Marshall, what's up? I'm new to your channel. Wow, okay. Thank you for introducing me to the history of Breguet and Daniel Roth. Finally landed a piece of. Oh, great! Which one did you get, Marshall? I was just looking at one of my Daniel Roth. I got two Daniel Rosses too, but that's another one I might goof up on. Yeah, no. If you found a Daniel Roth at a great price, hang on to it, because I got mine. It was a great price, and then the prices jumped. Which one did you get? Tony, got to run, guys. Thank you. Hey, GMT suggestions. Have a great day. You too, Tony. Let us know which one you get, too. If you make the rules, you can break them. Thanks, Dominic. I'll have you have rules, and then you have laws, and then you got subsections, and then my subsections have subsections. It's a good one. Hi, Don. How you doing? Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. It's called Persona Grata. That's a neat name. Called Furnace Vin or Ferris Wolf. Finnis Wolf. Finnis. My Finnis Wolf. Sick 'em. Hey, Marshall. It's 2157 from year 1992 and 1993. And okay, in white gold, in yellow gold, even better. Wow. Wow, you got a nice one. Okay, now I see from 1990, those are good years. Do you remember now? Marshall is called the 5157, but I don't recognize. I'm not good with a few exceptions with the reference number. Do you have how is the watch described, Marshall? Is it like a retrograde, or is it like the trying to think? I've got one Premier retrograde, and then the other one is the 24 cities. Raymond, I just picked up a Benzinger GAP. Boy, that guy Benzinger he is one of the top engravers. He does really a beautiful work. Hand guilloche, yeah, and skeletonized movement by Harboring 2. Super accurate. Yeah, Harboring 2 is probably some version of the A11 by Harboring 2. Nice one. Okay. Valius Monster. Oh, Valius Monster is also known as the Icoli Wolf or Ice Holy Wolf. where's Eric when I need him? Anyway, I'll just call him my Scandinavian wolf. I've always wondered what vest pocket means in your videos. Reference to pocket watches? No, HP. I'll tell you something. It's actually from the name of these little parks in New York City. What they did, they had some little public areas, and they didn't know what to do with them, and so they made them in these little parks, and they called them vest pocket parks. We have one about a mile from here down the street. We're rural though; we're not very urban. But I thought of that. It's sort of something short and compact, and the idea was to have vest pocket was more like short and compact 5-minute videos. Of course, they never last 5 minutes. I try to make them though on that. Speaking of which, I did the video on the how a retrograde works, and even made a model with popsicle sticks and all of my, and even had a snail cam, did all of this stuff, and it worked. And so what happened was that most watch collectors weren't interested. I thought, what a bunch of wimps. So not you guys, but these other ones who forgot that was one of my, and it's one of the few that is actually probably 5 minutes. Anyway, okay, HP, that's sort of a long answer. Clyde, okay, I was searching for similar watches. Okay, everyone's looking for that watch. Marshall, okay, 2157 is a sports automatic overhaul with big second and date. It's a moon phase with power reserve. I'll check it out. Thank you. Hi, Michael. How you doing? I'm glad you liked it. It was as technical as I get, engineering wise, I should say. Plenty of room in a pocket watch. I'd commission one with remontoire plus tourbillon plus cylinder, double hairspring and fusee and chain. I was really tempted to get a fusee and chain pocket watch, and I think if you can, you can get this is really interesting. I was looking at pocket watches, and you can get a remontoire, but I don't know if they're a remontoire égalité. There's some kind of remontoire though. I think remontoire simply means rewind, so I would imagine it's something in there. But that's, for having a certain kind of movement, you're unlikely to either find or afford. I didn't really have a tourbillon itch, but I saw a tourbillon it was like $100, $100 and something bucks on AliExpress. And so I got it, and then I got a case for it and made it, and it works. I mean, it works just like a tourbillon. I was just like, oh, well, that's done. But I don't do much with it. I just sort of put it in my side case. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Brian, I said it to I said it to Nicholas. He can give it to Guy in case he wants to know how the whole thing works. I saw some good Elgin and Girard-Perregaux precision watches with those mechanisms. Okay. But with missing parts. Yeah, that's one of the things I found. I found a watch I was looking at, and it's just everything, just a beautiful watch. And so not in working order. I'm thinking, that's my job, is to put them into not the working order once I get finished playing with them. Hi, old slab sides. How you doing? How do you feel about bringing a watch back to life with a different movement than it was originally in? I'll tell you who's doing some really interesting stuff with that is Rancher. He's what he's doing. He's finding these gold cases from older watches because you can pick those up for a lot less than you can even think about buying a new gold watch today. And he's been and then I think maybe he keeps the same movement, but then he has gets a dial for it. It depends what you're doing with it. It's referred to as a marriage watch, and if you're making it for yourself, great. I don't know about making them and trying to pass them off as something else that I don't like, but somebody says, "Hey, this I made a marriage watch out of this. If you want it, it's going to cost you this much." I don't have a problem with that at all. I know a lot of people get all excited, but I don't. Uh, it's just one of those things. HP, there's a brigade with a fusee and chain. Wow, a grail for sure. Yeah, no kidding. The thing about a fusee and chain, man, those things are the way they're made. They got this big stacking thing for the chain, and then they sort of have like it looks like almost like a miniature squashed down Christmas tree, and then they step it down. I don't know. I just as a it works, but I don't know. I guess some of them can be squished down to simply a stack of gears. Hey, Don. Good to see you too, man. I wind my autos to full capacity, but I wind my manuals only 2/3 capacity for more consistent spring tension. That's I can understand that. I've got I I wind automatics 40 winds. I don't know. I read that somewhere. 40 winds is good. I don't even remember, but sometimes you hear something that okay, well, I'll just sort of stick with it, so I don't have to learn anything new. And so, on the other hand, with my fully my hand wound, I wind them all the way. But I can see your point about having them because I guess if you wind them, the thing is that it's like the first 20% and the last 20% are either too strong or too weak, and the middle 60% is where you're going to have the most consistency. How do you know when you wound them 80%? You got 20% unwound. That's a hard one. Yeah, in smaller hands, Dominic. Yeah, I read that. Dominic's point about the fusee and chains, they're much smaller than, like a motorcycle chain or something. But they're these small chains, and they use children. They had both the eyesight and smaller hands to do those. There's a watch company that made the fusee and chain with wire instead of a link chain. I don't know how they did that. I guess that would be interesting to see. Interesting GMT option is a sub 2000 USD, a Seiko with a spring drive. Can find models in new old stock condition for around $1,500. Presage models have enamel dials. I like the presage. I like the mechanical presage, not the spring drive. Michael A. Need a flow sheet for each watch. How many winds? Yeah, it's really funny. One place that may have it. Have you ever got an automatic winder, and then you look up how you're supposed to wind it? I guess you wind it one way and then you wind it the other way, and they have all of this data on the winding. And so if you're wondering about that, you might look up watch winders or something like that. That's an interesting point. Michael, need a flow sheet for each watch. Oh, yeah, right. That's true. Okay, we wear the mask. Leonardo da Vinci was the first fusee and chain drawing. I believe it. He had also, I think he was one of the first. I don't know if it was a helicopter, but it was more like a sort of a screw wing that he had for that. Interesting guy. Okay, let's see. What are some other constant forces? You know, the reason I got this one that I really like, my Farve Luba twin power. Reason I got it is because it has dual barrels and parallel. And what they're supposed to do is to provide an even constant force. And you know what? They do. And at 18,000 GPH, that's another semi-oscillations per hour. You know, $100. I have bands that cost more than that. Okay, HRM. I really like the Pécanet. Shows the power reserve curve for their movement. Some of their movements have 100 plus hours reserve. Wow. But only 72 hours of chronometer spec performance. You know something? When I was interviewing Edouard Mellon, the guy who's the CEO of H. Moser, I was asking about that. I said, you have your watches are, you say they're like, I forgot which one it was. Like you say, it's 3 days. I think it was the my Henry Dibble hairspring that they have, and I think it's like guaranteed or something for 3 days. And I said, whenever I wear that watch, it always goes for 4 or 5 days. And what he said was pretty much in line with what was just said about you only wind your watch a certain amount. And what he said was that, well, what we're guaranteeing is accurate time for 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And then if it goes, we expect it to go beyond that, but that we can't guarantee the time after that amount of time. And that's because of the spring losing its tension. I thought that was sort of an interesting comment. Wolf's Watchfinder website has that. Oh, good. Thank you, Mason. After your twin barrel video, Aluba sold out. I know. Somebody told me that. I felt, oh no. I should have done what I did with the Maritz Grossman. I found this Maritz Grossman, brand new, with some guy in Dubai had it. Real nice guy. It turned out to work with. So he's got this one, and so I thought, well, I better buy it before I tell everyone. Then I told everyone about it. I should have bought a bunch of these. So the reason for these, like I said, they are affordable, but most of them are pretty old, and some of them are from, I guess there's a big Indian company called Tanto or Tata or something like that now owns the name and everything else. Some of the, before a certain period of time, the other ones were made in Switzerland. I don't know if they have what they have on AliExpress that I probably ought to buy is that they have you can buy a whole bunch of these rubber gaskets that you can put in. I don't know if any of them, I took off the back and the gasket was all chewed up and dead. I think all that mine had left was this little bit of black from what was left of the gasket. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I ought to get one of those sort of like called tub of gaskets or something like that you can get a whole bunch of them and then find one that fits. But they also have this gasket lubricating device. They have all kinds of cool things like that. So I feel, oh, gee, man, maybe if I break it, I can fix it. So anyway, so that's another one that is sort of a constant force. Could a watch with more complications require more wines? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I can. That's a really good question. Um, I think with more complications, you've got more things because you get the remember what the entire power comes from simply the unwinding of a mainspring, which to me is part of the fascination of mechanical watches. And so with more things added to it, yeah, probably you'd at least a double barrel, and a double barrel in parallel would be ideal for something like that, for adding more things to it. Could you get one of those children to put a second? Yeah, Brian's been having problem putting on the small seconds. I don't blame him. I always have I tell you, man, I would hang upside down from a trapeze to get that thing on. It's the hardest thing. What I did with one of my I had to get a special I know this sounds weird. I am totally left-handed and I'm also left-eyed, and so I had to get a special glasses eye thing for the left eye, and it took them almost a year to get it for me, but I finally got it. And so I had this. These are, I guess, my just sort of one generation older reading glasses. I thought, that's close enough. So I just put this contraption on here and just keep it ready. And so whenever I want to take a look at a watch, and then of course, when I want to back up and look at something else with it, I can. But that's what I do with my as soon as my prescription runs out, I get keep the old ones by. I put them somewhere in my travel stuff in case I forget my glasses. Oh, hey, Leash Time, how's it going? Hey, Tim. Hey, how are things in Hong Kong today? See, what time is it in Hong Kong? Boy, it's 11:46 at night in Hong Kong. That would be 23:46. Is that right? Tim? Yeah. Dominic, yeah, they do consume energy. I think that's why a lot of times there are two things that you can do to help that. One is you can lower the frequency. You can bring it down from like 4 to 3, something like that, or 3 to 1.5. That's one way to do it. There's another thing that I was reading about. I'm learning before I wreck another watch. I'm learning how to do oiling. And what there was a rule of thumb for lubricating a watch, is that it said, and it had some numbers on it on the. Let's see, get my lubrication oil that I just got. It's called Mobius, and it's Mobius 9010 is a light lubrication oil. It comes in a little thing in there, and it's expensive. So I got my lubrication oil, and the rule of thumb was that with, let's see, what is it? I think it's like high torque and low speed. What is high torque and low speed? Well, if you got one of those, like an hour gear or something like that, that only goes around once every hour. and so you don't have to move it very fast, and it creates a very high torque compared to a little one that's buzzing around like your second hand that keeps dodging Brian's capacity to spit it out a watch. And so, those kinds of things, you start thinking about that. And in terms of, okay, what's the role of complications? Larique is making our first complicated watch. And that's going to be an interesting thing to see what effect that has on all kinds of things, including the amount of power reserve that it's going to have. We may have a lower power reserve on it. I don't know. Raymond, what's up? Just missed an opportunity to buy a pre-owned Arm & Strom Gravity Equal Force. Really like the idea. Excellent watch. This is the trouble, is that there's so many watches. I get a watch I've been wanting all my life, like that pantograph. That's always been a grail watch with me. I never thought I'd be able to get it. And then one day everything worked out. I had enough and the price was low enough and everything just worked out beautifully. And I got it. So I don't need another watch. Well, I would love to have an Arm & Strom. It's hopeless. I mean, I might as well get I think it'd be easier to pass up on a free shot of dope than it would be on the watches. Hi, William. How you doing? Hey, Dino. Oh, man. What else we got? I got a little time up. They're going to have to boogie at 12, but I have a hall pass until then. What else is up? What else is going on watch-wise? You guys have had some really interesting things. I finally was able to get a Rolex GMT, a Rolex GMT. Which one did you get, Dino? A two-tone. Okay. Would that be what two-tone GMT Rolex did you get, Dino? Released last year, black and okay. Was it the Explorer? Was it a modified Air King? What was it? Oh, Master GMT. Okay. Since my daughter started college, I think I'm going to have to start collecting watches from AliExpress. Hey, listen, you can spend your time trying to put secondhands on too. One of the things that has been fun about starting to make your own watches, especially using inexpensive clones of Swiss movements, is that you take up a whole lot of time rather than thinking about, God, I gotta have that Arm & Strom now or something like that. Master GMT one, okay, 2. It's one of those, Dino. Glad you got it. Hey, Slabsiders 45. I recently learned about Glycodure balance wheels, and my respect for top grade ETA movements went up. Yeah, that's another thing too. It's a good point. Your top grade and your, I guess you call it, COSC grade ETAs, pretty nice. One of the things, my Longines, that's from 1989, my Longines equation of time watch. Boy, that thing is as accurate as I've ever won. I think they have their movements are made by ETA. So yeah, no, there's the only here's my beef with ETA, and it's not really with ETA. ETA figured out how to make really decent, inexpensive movements. They're mass produced, and so but then these certain watch companies would, who didn't have their own, would not tell exactly the truth, and they were running on an ETA, but they were charging like they were, some kind of in-house handmade movement, and they're not. So it's not that ETA was pulling anything over anybody's the wool over anybody's eyes. It's these big companies like IWC and Breitling and Panerai and God knows who else. So it's so you can find some good movements. The same thing is true of the Chinese movements. You gotta Siegel makes a clone of an ETA, two ETAs that I used, and they really are quite good. For I've got one, and then the other thing is that you can regulate them. And man, I regulate the daylights out of it, and it keeps as good as time as my best. Dominic, the next watch is okay to have a next watch. Gives you something to look forward to. There you go, Dominic. You're just like playing the wise man today. I appreciate it because that's good advice. HP, it's very fun to build a watch. It is. 64.97 makes a great movement to start. 64.97.98 depends whether you like the movement. The depends, like you want to be frustrated by putting the second hand on at 9 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Hey, 1 minute, please. Hello, Grandpa. Well, I'm fine. How are you? Granddaughter, I guess. Hey, do you know there's a Chinese micromotor that seems quite nice? Oh, there are a lot of good ones. Baltic uses it, and so do a few AE brands. This my only. I don't care if you put a hamster on a running wheel in a watch. Just tell people what you got in there, because I think as watch buyers, we deserve to know. Okay, that's it. I mean, we spend a lot of money on these things, and someone says, "Hey, we got an ETA," and they also ought to tell you the grade. We got, we got standard grade, elaborate grade, we got top grade, or COSC grade, and that's actually Solida now because ETA doesn't give them out to anybody else. Oh, look, guys, I've got a Brooks. I've got to go, so I will take my wolf and be off and try to stay cool. The rest of you, anywhere where they're having this heat wave, stay cool. Stay. It's not liquefied. I'm gonna say stay liquefied. Make sure you have enough to drink. Take care now, and thanks for everybody. You guys had some great stuff today. I appreciate it.